need to take another break. Be right back. Alright, I had to eat something, guys. Sorry. Anxiety News with your host, Chris Chaos. Okay. So, apparently, digital hoarding could be linked to anxiety. Say some researchers, and technology may be to blame. Well, obviously, digital hoarding. Who else is to blame but technology? I mean, the creators of it. I got turned down. Oh, I just remembered something I gotta write. Alright, so digital hoarding. This is from ABC RN, so I don't know where the fuck that is, because it's not our ABC. I guess it's from RN News. By Sam Nichols for Future Tense. Forgetting to clean out your digital life is normal, but for some people, it may be a sign of an emerging condition. I have all this stuff which I don't want to let go of for control-related reasons, says Kristen O'Connell. But I also feel like it controls me a bit. I want to be able to control it better than I can because of the sheer volume of it. The 37-year-old Sydney Sider isn't talking about holding on to physical stuff. She's talking about digital content, and she may be experiencing what's been dubbed by some as digital hoarding. O'Connell says she has thousands and thousands and thousands of screenshots from the last 10 years on her phone, as well as hundreds of unread texts from the past year and more than 17,000 unread emails. Bro, the other day, like a month or two ago, I just deleted all the Gmail. Sometimes I gotta delete texts, just empty it out. But that's me though, and also like, yeah, I don't know. O'Connell says she has thousands and thousands. Oh, I already read that. O'Connell says she believes that this behavior is linked to her separate diagnoses of PTSD and autism. It means she can't read or delete these texts and emails. She also has collected and kept around 3,500 files of archived websites and government data for her work, including more than 2,100 PDFs since May of 2021. I just can't feel trust that the stuff will be there or easy to find or that I won't need it. I just have all these reasons in my head why I'm justifying doing this when it may not seem logical, she says. O'Connell is not alone. From unopened emails to the thousands of photos on our phones and archived storage content, the volume of our digital content is what defines life online for many of us. And that while not everyone agrees that data hoarding is harmful and the condition hasn't been included in the 5th edition of the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, DSM-5, some researchers are concerned about the behavior. For example, in 2015, the British Medical Journal published a case study of a 47-year-old man who'd been diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder and exhibited traditional hoarding symptoms, who took and kept 1,000 digital photographs every single day. The researchers concluded that digital hoarding should be included as a subtype of hoarding disorder. In 2022, academics surveyed the experiences of 846 subjects. They reported parallels between the experiences of traditional hoarding and digital hoarding. Darshana Sadera, the director of Southern Cross University's Digital Enterprise Lab, was one of the co-authors of that study. Hoarding comes down to the propensity of the clutter that you see, how much you collect, and your difficulty of departing from that asset, thereby creating anxiety or stress, he tells ABC RN's Future Tense. What we have done in our studies is that we've looked at whether these 3 characteristics exist in the digital world, and what we see is yes, there are some traits of hoarding coming through. Dr. Sedaris says that while more research needs to be completed on digital hoarding, he believes this could be widespread. I see it in myself, I see it in my fam, I see it in my colleagues, but the extent of that could vary, he adds. Dr. Sedera believes we're currently in the perfect environment for the behavior to thrive. Many of these devices, platforms, ecosystems that we have not just encouraged us to keep data, but it almost happens automatically. It's almost like in order for you to stop collecting the data or from your devices, you got to manually stop doing that. Dr. Sedera says another reason we're unable to clean out our online lives is our emotional detachment to our content, such as our posts on social media and the quantity of likes. We will never delete that because that someone has liked it, he says. I delete my shit because it's only like 1 or 2. It's embarrassing. I just stop posting. And the mechanism for us to take part in that equation has been made much easier by the platform providers and the technology companies. So he worries about the impact that the hoarding of digital content may have on our mental health. According to his 22 study, 37% of the respondents said their digital hoarding caused anxiety. Dr. Sedera says that his study also found there's a direct relationship between the number of digital devices you own and a feeling of anxiety. Oh, because imagine they got the video game systems, and they got the computer, and they got the tablet, and they got the phone, and they're hoarding on all that shit. Whoa. The survey found that women were 27% more likely than men to experience the negative impacts of digital hoarding, like anxiety. We're dealing with something that's right at our doorstep right now, but we seem to ignore it, he says. We talk about the peer pressure coming from social media, the fear of missing out coming from social media. Digital hoarding would be at the same level, if not bigger. Given that our lives are likely to continue to be dominated by digital content and social media, Dr. Darshana says digital hoarding, will likely only get worse. So this is going to be very, very difficult for individuals in the future. Not everyone agrees with Dr. Darshana's concerns. Cassie Goodwin, a 42-year-old based in Sydney, believes she's a digital hoarder. She has kept about 20 years worth of digital emotional touchstones, including emails and archived instant messenger conversations within about 8 terabytes of data. Whoa, IM messages, conversations. She says that by holding on to this content, she's able to hold on to mementos of her friendships. These are of particular value because her long history of trauma has left her with mental health issues and memory problems. And these mementos fill the gap. Holding on to all this data and all this digital memorabilia really helps fill my memory gaps. It gives me a sense of permanence almost to things that can slip away very easily. Because I am aware of how much my mental health issues mess with my perception of what's true and what's real. I mean, it's digital, but it's external proof that someone did care about me. Goodwin believes there are many different experiences of digital hoarding, some positive, some negative. I think just as with your physical hoarding, there are limits to what is benign hoarding. I think perhaps that if it is impacting your life in a negative way, if you are not getting positive feelings from it, if it's just bringing you down, then that's a different instance to what I experienced, she says. But I can certainly see how that could happen. I just don't think it's an inherent result of digital hoarding. I think they can go a couple different ways, says this lady. This cool lady who they interviewed, that 42-year-old. Because, yeah, I see it. I see it both ways, too. Like, it just depends on the person. It's not inherently negative. Just like the internet's not inherently negative. It just becomes that we use it in a negative way. And hoarding and collecting and shit like that. Very interesting, very interesting, very interesting. Alright, so the movie review. I'm going to do what I was going to do last week, and I'll say this.